Government ministers charged with higher education and vocational training say 1 week into the academic year, no case of the COVID-19 pandemic has been recorded in any university or vocational training institute in Cameroon. Soldiers of the 6th contingent of Cameroon's battalion to the United Nations multi-dimensional integrated stabilization mission in the Central African Republic, MINUSCA, are back with the victory song. Plus, custom officials in the south score an even bigger as they seize 626 kilograms of elephant ivory, the largest ever seized, smuggled in from Gabon. Good evening and welcome to the 7:30 News. I am Benen Bumagana in Yaoundé.
Each of us must comply with the measures that have been taken.
The Minister of Higher Education, Professor Jacques Famdongo, and the Minister of Employment and Vocational Training, Issa Chiruma Bakari, say no cases of coronavirus infection have been signaled in universities and vocational training centers in Cameroon 1 week into the new academic year. They were speaking after the meeting of the Interministerial Committee to monitor the government's response strategy against COVID-19 today. Star Building correspondent Christian Cheatams reports.
A week into the first semester of the new academic year, the interministerial meeting was convened by Prime Minister Joseph John Gute to evaluate the level of adherence to COVID-19 protection measures. The Minister of State, Minister of Higher Education, Jacques Famdongo, said state universities and private institutions engaged the new year on high alert against COVID-19.
After 1 week, the universities, private and public universities, we have no death. All the students, all the staff, personnel, all the teachers are okay.
As for vocational training institutions, the Minister of Employment and Vocational Training says measures have been put in place to ensure the systematic decontamination of machines and study halls, as well as the respect of social distancing.
Up until now, no case has been reported. Despite this situation, I keep always repeating that we must remain vigilant.
Updated statistics on the evolution of COVID-19 indicate that Cameroon counts a total number of 21,793 positive cases since the start of the pandemic, but 95% of them have been declared free of the virus. Prime Minister Joseph John Gute has called on different administrations to strengthen the application of barrier measures against COVID-19, especially as end-of-year feasts approach.
The minister delegate at the presidency in charge of defense, Joseph Beti Asomo, has congratulated soldiers who made up the 6th Cameroonian battalion to the UN multidimensional integrated stabilization mission in the Central African Republic, MINUSCA, for accomplishing their mission with honor and loyalty. The soldiers handed back the flag to the minister delegate during a ceremony today in Yaoundé, as we hear in this report by Ebenezer Akanga.
There were 750 soldiers and 280 gendarmes who made up the 6th Cameroonian battalion to the United Nations multidimensional integrated stabilization mission in the Central African Republic, MINUSCA. For 1 year, they participated in peacekeeping operations in the war-torn country. With their mandate having come to an end, the commander of the battalion, Colonel Jean-Paul Tanko, handed back the flag to the minister delegate at the presidency in charge of defense.
The presence of the Cameroonian battalions and formed police units in Central African Republic has so far been consistently highly appreciated due to the quality of their commitment and the professionalism of their men.
However, Joseph Betiasom regretted that some cases of poor conduct were recorded, leading to the replacement of the first commander of the battalion. With the security challenges facing Cameroon, the minister told the troops to go back to their various units and services, but should be ready to be called upon to intervene anytime and anywhere in the country.
Scores of civilian and road safety actors from ministries and other sectors of the country have received training on raising awareness on good road practices to avoid accidents. Their 5-day training, which ended Friday at the International School for Security Forces, is one in a series of training programs earmarked in a project sponsored by the European Union known as the Regional Project for the Implementation of Road Safety Training Actions. Beatrice Losamba reports that the aim of it all is to reduce the number of accidents and deaths from them. Here is her report.
Among the synergy of actions taken to halve road accidents by 2020, the training of civilian road safety actors is seen as key. This, given that 90% of accidents are caused by human factors.
This training is a great opportunity for us as Cameroonian stakeholder, to update information about road safety, and we are learning to organize a comprehensive awareness campaign. The
21 will receive attestations today after a 4-day training at the International School for Security Forces are expected to be vectors of good behavior on the road in this permanent struggle to curb accidents, the main cause of deaths in the country.
If there is no accident, there will be a development of a country. Any actors have a sector of activities, and you apply what he learned to reduce road accidents.
Nearly 400 road safety stakeholders will be trained in the next 4 years thanks to this EU-sponsored regional project, which is key to attaining the UN's objectives to end road accidents.
25 elements of the Rapid Intervention Grouping of the National Gendarmerie trained to meet the evolving terrorist threats in the country have graduated with special anti-terror techniques at the training center in Bankomo on the outskirts of Yaoundé. The trainers come from specialized anti-terrorism gendarmerie groupings in Cameroon and in France. Kylian Ndifon tells us more.
Terrorism is taking new inroads and modes of operation in Cameroon, and the National Gendarmerie is updating the response capacity of its competent European elements.
Might be in a bus, might be in a train, might be in a football field or in the market. So this is what we have been learning for the past week, and that is how you help us to help our country to block the way from the terrorists to enter our country.
It is in 2 weeks that the 25 European trainees have acquired techniques to control any terrorist threat or attack, thanks to cooperation with France, and expectations are high.
We are very grateful towards our partnership with France. The training was indoors and outdoor, and our personnel during this period have proved his awareness to go ahead in his future missions.
While the laureates received and of course testimonials, the trainers and partners from France were offered gifts of appreciation by the representative of the Secretary of State at the Ministry of Defense in charge of the National Gendarmerie and Bankomo in Yaoundé.
Custom officials of the South 1 sector have seized 626 kilograms of elephant ivory, its largest seizure to date. The tusks, estimated to come from 59 elephants, were smuggled in from neighboring Gabon and impounded in Ambam in the Ntem Valley Division during a special operation to tackle illicit and contraband goods entering and exiting Cameroon. They were presented to administrative authorities of the Ntem Valley this Thursday, as you tell us, Clarence Azay.
These are the 118 elephant tusks, the outcome of poaching. They were seized during an operation carried out by the South 1 Customs sector Wednesday, October 21st in the locality of Ambam on board a vehicle from Gabon, head economic capital, Douala.
Following our findings, I decided to put in place a team to track down the ivory traffickers. We are out for serious business. The traffickers should know.
The vehicle transporting the 626 kilograms of tusk, estimated to come from 59 elephants, was forcefully declared to contain cartons of sardine. It took the tact and prowess of Captain Jean-Rodrigue Nzoleng Epang, who led the operation, and his men to unmask the driver's trick.
The gentleman came in with his trickish method, empty car, but with a magazine constructed inside. And we used our intelligence to be able to dictate that there was something. And he declared he had only 80 cartons of sardine. Meanwhile, there was really nothing inside but the elephant tusk.
The lone occupant of the vehicle transporting the tusk, 47-year-old Muhammadu Ibrahim, is currently under custody. In addition to the elephant ivory are 2 vehicles, a Toyota Prado and a 30-seater bus brought in fraudulently through the use of fake documents, false number plates and influence peddling. The South One Customs sector has promised tough times for dealers of illicit transborder trade in the Thames Valley.
And that is not all. Custom officials of the Operation Alcomi 3 Zone 2 have impounded tons of smuggled goods and ivory-protected wildlife species. This operation also led to the seizure of fraudulently imported weapons, as you tell us, Ewane Pole.
The Mobile Customs Brigade, Alcomi 3 Zone 2, during their routine operations, impounded illicit goods worth hundreds of millions CFA francs, comprised of over 500 bags of sugar fraudulently imported from Thailand and cartons of expired pharmaceutical and cosmetic products smuggled into the country from Nigeria.
We had information from our informant, and we went there, we met the truck when they were about to offload it.
Meanwhile, in the East region, the customs officials also seized ivories of protected wildlife species.
These are teeth of a protected wildlife species, precisely tiger. The seizure was carried out in the East. We have 30, there are 30 in number, and we also have the clouses, they are 18 in number.
Elephant tusks and weapons were also seized in the south and the center regions. These smugglings caused Cameroon to lose about 200 billion CFA francs every year.
Private business owners in Cameroon and officials of the ministries in charge of the finance and production sectors have agreed on the need to continue improving the business atmosphere in the country. This was during the 11th session of the Cameroon Business Forum, which Prime Minister Joseph John Gute presided Thursday in Yaoundé. Christian Che Atam reports on some of the measure recommendations.
In conformity with traditions of the Cameroon Business Forum, the 11th session proposed a number of reforms to improve Cameroon's doing business. In the domain of business creation, the 2020-2021 Doing Business Roadmap advocates for a reduction of the number of capital threshold for limited liability companies which do not have recourse to a notary from 10,000 to 5,000 francs. Concerning building permits, the 11th CBF Forum recommends the consolidation of the one-stop shop in order to prevent any contact between applicants and other administrations, as well as the publication of the time taken to process building permits. It also recommends a reduction in the time taken to obtain water connection, currently estimated at 50 days. On access to electricity, the reduction of waiting time for connection was the main recommendation. When it comes to the transfer of property, the session recommends that a one-stop shop for property registration be made operational. It has also recommended a reflection on ways of reducing the cost of exporting cocoa and importing vehicle parts.
Let's go over to Littoral, where the role and stakes of the single treasury account has been at the center of a workshop that has just ended. In the economic capital, the Minister of Finance, Louis-Paul Montaze, indicated that a single treasury account will ensure the coordination of budgetary policies for better management of public accounts. Kola Maloke reports.
These are mayors, directors of banking institutions and other public entities who answered present at this discussion workshop organized by the Ministry of Finance to enlighten them on the single treasury account.
Today it was about the unique account of treasury, and we were here to try to explain to everybody that it would be profitable, very good for everybody to be in the unique account. And we are happy today because everybody who was invited here finally understood.
This reform presented to the stakeholders in the management of public finances comes to solve some insufficiencies recorded.
As of 31st of August 2020, we had more than 900 billion of public funds in commercial banks. And that's why the putting in place of this single account would permit us to be able to have enough money to take care of all needs of the states. Because most of these funds were actually idle funds.
Participants at the discussion workshop, which was presided at by the Minister of Finance, Louis Paul Motazé, said, though the idea is plausible, they would need more explanation on the functioning of the single treasury account.
Away from the economy and finance now, let's go over to the West region to say that the heavy rains in the region, as in other parts of the country, may likely cause several landslides along the Sancho Chang Bamungum stretch of road. The rains may cause a rift on the Sancho Cliff if nothing is done urgently. And to prevent the catastrophe, the Minister of Public Works, Emmanuel Nganu Jumesi, has ordered that the emergency works begin immediately. Joyce Kimbi-Fawaju reports.
Not even the darkness of the night could stop Minister Nganu. Vehicle lamps are used here at the Sancho Cliff in the West region, threatened by multiple landslides, to evaluate its consequences on the road. Serious enough for the minister and his team to return next early morning with urgent remedial measures.
He has given us precise decisions to carry on some feasibility studies to solve this problem before any other situation can occur. And you can see that we have reacted promptly so that traffic can still continue applying on the road while a definitive solution is taken on it.
Stakes well understood by the construction company.
When the roads cut, we do all the effort to restore the light traffic, but the heavy traffic cannot pass up till now. Since there, we have done all the studies, and all those studies are now approved to start building the culvert at the point.
Hitherto this, works on the 180 kilometers stretch Bekokong-Kongsambang-Kam Bridge were examined with firm instructions that maintenance work on the highly degraded road be accelerated by the construction company. The beneficiaries like Mayor Alhaj Omaru jubilate over hopes that they will see accidents reduced on the Kongsama-Bekoko road.
On his part, the minister delegate at the presidency in charge of public contracts, Ibrahim Talba Mala, saluted some ongoing infrastructural projects in the town of Betwa in the East region, which have already given that city a facelift and eased movement. On day 2 of his visit to the East, the minister pressured the company working on the projects to deliver in time. Tala LT reports.
The 90 kilometers road from Manju in Betwa to Baturi is advancing slowly but surely in spite of the numerous difficulties which have hindered its smooth execution. During this inspection visit to the Cameroonian and Chinese companies executing this project, which falls under the 3-year emergency, the minister delegate at the presidency in charge of public contracts, Ibrahim Talba Malang, was told that the slow disbursement of funds by the state and the COVID-19 pandemic are some of their greatest challenges.
We have already tiled the road on 15 kilometers. We have already done all the bridges. It is remaining only to tile the road, which will take us around 6 months.
Minister Ibrahim Talba Mala, who took out time to inspect this project and exchange with the key actors, did not forget to exhort them to continue doing their best in spite of the numerous hurdles.
What they have done so far, we are very satisfied of it, and the main recommendation is to remain tied together and to work to achieve this project.
As part of his journey to Baturi, the minister also took out time to inspect the implantation of an optical fiber cable of 205 kilometers from Betwa to Kenzum under the Central African Backbone Project, which will link Cameroon to the CIMAC zone.
In Douala, the new director of the Lakantini Hospital, Professor Noel Esomba, has been installed into his function by the Minister of Public Health, Dr. Manawuda Malashi, who called on the new director to put in more efforts in making the hospital stand up in the reception and treatment of patients. This was during the ceremony to officially install him, as we hear in this report by Rosalind Forsa.
It goes down the record that once upon a time on Friday, October 23, 2020, the university lecturer and health expert Professor Noel Esomba officially became the director of one of the prestigious hospitals in Cameroon, the Lakantini. The man elevated has showed proof of his expertise at the Nilon District Hospital, where he transformed the health institution into an appropriate home for the sick. It is a similar energy that the Minister of Public Health, Dr. Manawuda Malashi, recommended to the now Lakantini Hospital Director. The Health Minister emphasized that the hospital represents a real motive for hope and life and thus requires the values of humanism, professionalism and innovation. As the director takes over the command baton, his major challenge is to ensure that the hospital be an institution requested by every patient.
Our priority is to make the Lakantini Hospital a public polyclinic. This through the quality of the structure and the respect of the social policy of the government.
This installation ceremony in Douala was also an occasion for the health minister to congratulate the former director, Professor Louis Richard Jok, who has been called to serve the nation at the ministry as Secretary General.
The wearing of face masks in public places will be mandatory until further notice.
The fight against the COVID-19 pandemic has not stopped. It's continuing, and health professionals in Cameroon have intensified sensitization campaigns against the spread of the virus nationwide to convince Cameroonians to continue respecting anti-COVID-19 barrier measures, especially as sport activities are about to resume fully. Baldwin Sama is at the Public Health Emergency Center, CUSP, with updates. Hello, Baldwin.
Good evening to you, Benin Bumagana. It remains very important, despite the fact that most persons still have this idea that the coronavirus is history in Cameroon. Unfortunately, it is no longer the case, and that is why health professionals are laying a lot of emphasis these days on sensitization, especially during this period when we have sporting activities that are gradually resuming nationwide, and most sport actors are supposed to be aware of most of these health protocols set aside for them to respect in order to avoid that this virus be spread through the sport milieu in the country. And this is only done through some of these sensitization messages that have been sent across, especially equally during this particular period when we have had the start of our classes for the 2020-2021 academic year in the higher education sector in Cameroon, with the presence of students on the different university campuses. There is every need for them to be aware of some of these barrier measures that to a greater extent have so far been respected in the secondary and basic education sectors in the country, and that must equally be respected in the higher education sector in Cameroon. Sensitization, it is very important as far as the health professionals are concerned. Cameroonians need to be reminded that they must continue respecting all these barrier measures outlined by the government of Cameroon to limit the spread of the virus, because the coronavirus is not yet history. The coronavirus is still very much present among us. Back to you, Benin Bumagana.
And we will win in this battle, Baldwin Sama from Kemen. Thank you very much. The Minister of Communication, Rene Manuel Sadi, has ordered the advertising company which put up adverts of a cosmetic product, Karimo, to bring down these posters and social media posts in less than 48 hours, far lesser than 48 hours now, or face the sharp edge of the law. In a statement signed Thursday, the Minister of Communication said the advert, which shows dark-skinned persons crawling at the feet of a light-skinned lady whose latest complexion is as a result of skin bleaching, is demeaning and insults the dignity of of dark-skinned persons. Romeo Kenny read through the statement and our reports.
In a press release signed on October 22 by the Minister of Communication, who doubles as the president of the National Advertising Council, a private company manufacturing cosmetic products for skin bleaching known as CAMEROONIAN has been suspended from its duties with immediate effect. Per the communique, the advertisement of the product violated certain publicity ethics and norms prescribed in Articles 23 and 24 of the 2006 law.
The minister is on his duty to call everybody back to order. That is simply what he did the other day by calling the person in charge of advertisement campaign.
The company was given 48 hours to pull off its advertising posters on billboards and all its social media platforms, else other sanctions from the law will follow.
The campaign was sort of attacking the dignity of a category of people. Nobody is supposed to ignore the law, and that to do advertisement, at least you should make sure that you know the rule that governs the sector.
It is worth mentioning that the law also condemns any advertising message containing elements likely to condemn religious affinities.
The Minister of Agriculture Thursday granted an audience to the German ambassador to Cameroon. During the audience, both men discussed ways of strengthening cooperation ties between the two countries, promote agriculture and rural development, and put in place solutions to improve farming methods in the Congo Basin. Laurel Bateaya reports.
The Congo Basin is the second largest tropical rainforest in the world, with almost 2 million square kilometers of humid forest. Cameroon is one of the countries of this zone. This gives it the opportunity to share its resources and ideas with other nations across the globe. An audience was held this 22nd of November in Yaoundé to promote the agricultural sector in Cameroon.
The objective is to search allies and to look for allies for the Congo Basin, for the development of the basin, but also for the conservation of the second biggest lung in the world.
The ceremony brought together actors of the agricultural sector of Cameroon to share with their counterparts of Germany on how to promote agriculture and rural development.
We've just discussed is the important need to see how we can increase production of the essential priorities.
Of the ceremony, the two countries express joy and satisfaction as they share in harmony.
Now let's find out where you can go to this weekend to have some fun. Queen Eteme Sanziviani and other Cameroonian artists honor the royal woman tomorrow Saturday during a show in Fou, outside Yaoundé. And over in Douala, Canal Olympia will project an Algerian movie directed by famous film director Mezak Alouadj. That is going to be on Sunday. Joy Starter tells us more.
Ruben Binam opens the dance floor this evening in the Bastos neighborhood in Yaoundé in a jazz style. The rural women will be on spotlight this Saturday at the Mfu ceremonial ground with Queen Eteme Sanziviani and other Cameroonian artists wearing her shoes. Makossa singer Sergio Polo presents live this Saturday in the nation's capital, feeding his fans with heartstrings. Happy weekend to all.
And happy weekend to you, Joy Starter. Thank you very much for watching the 7:30 news. Another edition of the newscast is at 8:30. That is going to be with Atta Bajin Omar. For me, I'll be back here tomorrow at 7:30 for what is making news in Cameroon and out of the country. Good night. God bless you.
In this connection, we should avoid stigmatizing.
CRTV News, ici, toute l'info.